Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. It's where I talk about random topics as I drive places. I've got the day off today because it's Anzac Day, so I'm deciding I'll go for a drive to go and get ahead on a few of my jobs that I need to do for next week. There's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics and I do swear a lot, so of course you don't have to listen to me. I'm not going to encourage people to be offended. I can't stop you being offended half the time, even if I do play nice. So if you don't want to hear about like really risque topics, just change the channel. I mean, I'm not going to apologize for saying shit when I've already warned you. Okay, so if you don't want to hear it, that's up to you. As an autonomous adult that doesn't need parenting, apparently. Okay, so the topic for today is friendship. Okay, now, this is an interesting one for me because I work in a school, or several schools I should say. I work in several schools. So the concept of friendship and, you know, who an individual hangs around is a constant one because my kids are learning how to be socialized or how to socialize. Social skills, for example, are, you know, at the forefront with these kids because if you don't have the network of people around you that you can get along with, then pretty much everything else gets affected as well. Sorry, shit intersection. Here we go. Oh, no, there's always one. Go away. But you know, it's important to have decent friends, and I'm not talking about just collect people because you want the numbers. There is a concept of quality over quantity, for example. I mean, with the, you know, everybody using Facebook and shit like that and Instagram, you've got a shitload of people that are willing to follow people or to claim friendship but not actually act as friends. They just want the face value of it. It's a very shallow approach to friendship, which I find irritating as shit because these aren't people you can rely on when it comes to the crunch. They're going to be, oh, I know of that person. You actually know them as a friend? What, a real friend? No, I saw them once. I liked their post or their status, so I friended them. So they perverted the concept of friendship at this point with mass media, which I don't find to be a good thing. People are claiming to be friends. I mean, it was already a dicey concept to believe. My stuff is kicking in. It was already pretty dicey to begin with. Because even when you've got, you know, so-called normal friends that maybe you'll see every day, there is a chance there may not be the kinds of friends that you want. There's those backstabbing friends or those fake friends that are trying to get something out of you, or, you know, the manipulative kind that need the external validation, so they'll hang around someone that's perceived to be a nice person just to make sure that when they want the extra attention or anything like that, that you'll come running, because we're friends, right? We have to be nice to each other. Ideally, if you're nice to someone, they should be nice back. That's the way I was raised. If you're an asshole, you get asshole behavior back. I don't agree with the fake friendship shit. It pisses me off. I mean, it could be, you know, autism as well. I have trouble with social cues and understanding the double standards and the backhandedness that's associated with fake friends. I've never really... I mean, I haven't had trouble making friends, but at the same time, I haven't gone out of my way to make them. I'm quite happy just drifting on my own, to be honest. You kind of go in yourself, and it becomes more useful as an adult because you're not so much reliant on other people to validate your existence. I mean, a lot of people, as you get older, will say that they need their friends around as a support network. Is, you know, you'll find ASD kids just don't really need anyone else. It's like, no, I'm fine in my own little world. It's, you know, it's a weird, yeah. So we're less susceptible to wanting to belong in that way as you get older. I find that non-ASD people tend to be a little bit traumatized by the lack of support network they find as they're getting older. Because it's, you know, everybody gets married and moves away and stuff like that, which I find interesting. I've always been on my own, well, near enough. I've got about a handful of friends that I've known since I was a kid. So these are my people on my Facebook. I've got, I think, 11 or 12 people in total. And these are people I actually have interacted with. when I see someone with like 500 friends on their Facebook, I'm sitting there thinking, they're not actually your friends. You don't actually know them. You're just collecting people because it looks like you're that kind of person that has a lot of people. You know, some people measure the goodness of themselves in how many people are following them, for example. If I've got this many so-called friends on Facebook, then of course I must be the good person. It's virtue signaling. Why would so many people be following this person if they weren't a good person? And it's bullshit. Because you're not following that person. You're not actually getting in depth and knowing that person. These are all acquaintances that you've met. And someone's just gone, oh yeah, tick, I'll add them. Yeah. Will I ever run into them again? No. Can I rely on them again? No. So, you know, I think there needs to be a bit more discernment when it comes to actually classifying people as friends. These are meant to be intense support networks. If you're that way inclined, I'm not socially that way inclined because most of the time I don't understand the double standards that exist within the social norms. I'm pretty straightforward when it comes to, you know, interacting with people. I say what it is what it is. It's often tactless because I don't like bullshit and lies. But I'll try to find a nice way to say it because I know that it hurts people's feelings if I don't sugarcoat the shit, quite frankly. So I'll try and find a nice way. And it definitely hurts kids' feelings. So as a teacher, you got to be nice and find a nice way to do it. Which gets a bit tricky because you're like, things that should be common sense to these people and kids just aren't occurring because they want to, you know, believe their own bullshit. I remember one time I was in the classroom and one of my girls, who was an 8-year-old at the time, had taken on herself to conduct a study, a survey of how many people in the classroom liked her the best. I think you're just setting yourself up for a fool doing shit like that. It's like you're looking at other people who have different interests to you. And what it was self-serving. She wanted people to believe that she was the best in the class, and she had this many people thinking she was fantastic. And, you know, that's what she assumed it would be. That would give her that external validation, make her feel like she was worth something. So she did this little survey. Anyway, she did the survey. And then she found out, to her, you know, broken little heart, that she wasn't the most popular in the class. And I then had to act as mediator to explain to her that everybody's different. Not everybody has got a favorite person, and that everybody's different, and that maybe there are points of view that people do like and points of view that people don't like, and you have to sort of act as a bridge towards this. I mean, honestly, if it was an adult who had done this, you would have sat there and thought, well, that's an arrogant asshole for even attempting that. Why would you do that? Who does that? But this little, and I understand she was a little girl. She didn't quite understand the rules of engagement. She assumed that everybody would either feign liking her to make her feel good, or, you know, people genuinely thought she was the best in the class. So ego is getting involved here, and I give kids more leeway than I do adults because they're kids and they're still learning. When you get a bunch of adults that turn up and say, you'll have to fake be nice to me, because if you don't, you come across as the asshole. That's when I get a bit narky. I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. And I think people should be blunt in their responses, especially with adults, and honest with regards to whether they don't like someone or not, because it's the lying that just pumps someone up. I mean, if it was someone with low self-esteem, although why would someone with low self-esteem have the balls to go around and start saying, I'm the most popular person in the class? Which stands to reason. You know, if it was someone with low self-esteem, I would understand why people might play nice to try and help them boost themselves up a bit. But when it's an arrogant asshole that says, I'm the best and you'll have to agree with me, using this kind of reverse psychology shit where nobody wants to come across as the asshole, so they go with it, that creates the problems. And that's how, you know, celebrities become, you know, people like celebrities. You can also get dictators who have a following of sycophants, who just are yes men, or yes people, I should say. And that's how you get the major problems, because nobody has the balls to actually say in a blunt fashion, as much as it hurts, you're fucking wrong. That's how you get, you know, Trumps and Putins and Hitlers. But it's the ridiculousness. So you've got to choose your friends wisely. You've got to choose people who are willing to cut the crap and say, you fucked up. My brother, for example, has got a crew of friends that he's had since high school. And he's 40... What am I, 38? It's like 43 now. One of his friends cheated on his partner. Now, I would have kicked him out the group for that, because I don't think that's what our group stands for. So he's a bit more lenient than me. I don't associate with people that will do that. I don't agree with that. I don't like the idea of people committing adultery. I don't think there is a excuse for it. It doesn't mimic my moral standpoint. So I just wouldn't associate with them. But at the same time, he's kept this person in the group because he's known them from since high school. But at the same time, you've got to ask, what kind of influence is this one person who has conducted themselves dishonorably and poorly as a man? Because the guy is about 40 odd now as well. You've got to ask, what's the fallout from keeping these people around you? I don't know. And he's not repentant at all, to be honest. He keeps doing it. And he's friends with the spouse, because the spouse he went to high school with as well. So I don't know how he reasons sitting there watching this guy do this to one of his friends. So I don't know how he's reasoned it out. I might actually discuss it with him at some point. But to me, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to keep these people around you. I would be friends with the spouse still, yes, because obviously she's the person that got screwed over in this scenario. But to be friends with the person who cheated just because they're a friend from high school, that's not an excuse. Just because you've known them long enough to keep them around. Obviously, this person has outgrown the situation. Well, my brother should have outgrown the situation where he's just tolerant of people that do horrible things to people. But again, he's got that mindset where he likes to keep people around him. He is afraid of being alone. That's a weird thing. One weird trait of him. He has abandonment issues where he will just keep people, even though they're not a good influence, he'll just keep them around him. I don't know if he takes on the traits of these people. I've never known my brother to cheat or anything like that. He's a very honourable person. He's a very kind, giving, loving person. But for the sake of being associated with this person who's clearly doing the wrong thing and hurting a friend, like he's friends with both of them, it stands to reason why you'd keep that kind of influence around you. I wouldn't ostracize them, I just wouldn't associate with them. You know, it's like, this person does not reflect my standards. I'm not doing this. Which is odd. But this is the same scenario I'm facing in the classroom with my kids. I gotta show them how to find friends that are of a good quality, that will have a good influence. And they don't think about it when they're kids, because everything's, oh, we're just gonna be friends, we're all gonna get along, we're all gonna play together, it's gonna be fine. But it's not. The people you hang around with will taint the way you turn out. Either for the better or the worse, to be honest. Growing up with my parents, both of which were berserkers, abusive, the good news was that I looked at that and went the other way. If it had been the bad side of things, I could have seen, that's normal, I'm going to mimic that and pass it down to my kids. I don't have kids. But I have surrogate kids. I have my kids every day at work. It's great. And then I hand them back. I do my bit and I hand them back. But, you know, it's, again, you have choice. But at the same time, wouldn't you try and, you know, weight the scales in your favor, knowing that the bad influence, you know, could taint how you turn out? I didn't have a choice in my parents, as far as I know. So I was kind of stuck with them until I moved out at 19, which was kind of shitty, because you kind of just take the brunt of the whatever they decide to throw at you as a form of parenting. With my friends, I'm more selective now these days. I really am. I try to make friends with my ex-boyfriend's friends. I don't know if any of those are real friends, to be honest, because they'll treat each other like shit, but there is an illusion that they are cohesive in that group. But if you look at the detail of what's going on behind each other's backs, as soon as one leaves to go do something, and you look at the conversations they're having, it is diversive. There's no cohesion there. It's all a facade. where they're nice on the surface, but stabbing each other in the back behind, you know, and you sit there and think, do I want to belong to this? Do I want to participate in these practices which are considered the norm? Or would I just be better on my own? You know, it's like, I don't like this nastiness. I see this amongst children at work during the week. I don't want to participate in the practices when it's my time, when I'm the adult, and because it just passes on the message that these things are okay and you can just be nasty to people as long as you're saying with a smile it's fine. I don't agree with that at all. And it sets the tone for future, because at the moment he could quite possibly, and I haven't been monitoring him at all because it's done, he could be quite possibly facing the reality of these people don't have his back. They might pretend to be nice to him. They might do the whole flirting thing. They seem to be big on that. But when the crunch comes down to it, you know, he's got no one to lean on. Even, you know, his so-called best mate, which he's been friends with for years, is biased. He's subject to, you know, what was it I said on the way out? I gave him like a list. I'm sitting there because I had to make it very clear that I didn't want him. Unfortunately, it was blunt. I didn't like being that blunt, but he wasn't getting the nice version, so I had to be sharp with it. But it was very, very clear cut the way I laid it out. It was in an email, and I gave him 11 steps because I'm an idiot. I try to be nice even when I'm out the door, you know, like, you're on your own, but here's some ideas you might want to work on. I gave him 11 steps to fixing his life. Whether he did or not, I don't know. It's been 2 years or so. He's on his own as far as I know. One of which was, you need to get out of that social group, because the social group does not have your back. Even the person you claim to be your best friend does not have your back. As I said, as soon as he gets his dick wet, he's going to disappear and you'll be on your own. It just tends to be a trend with people in that group. As soon as they get what they want or they're distracted by something else, they will abandon their so-called friends to follow that. If it's, I've got a better job somewhere else, I'm going to go that way and fuck you guys and I won't bother hanging out with you. Or, you know, it's like, I've got a girlfriend, so I'm going over that way and I'm not going to hang out with you guys. It's like they will hang around enough together as long as they are entertained, and when they've got something better, they fuck off that way. You know, he did the same with me. I was an option, definitely, and I know that for sure, because he would actually discard me in favor of hanging out with them when there was some kind of get together. I know that much because it was very fucking apparent. We would organize a weekend together, or I would organize a weekend together because he doesn't make plans, and he would cancel last minute. Now, he did that 4 or 5 times, and I had already, you know, set up the home just to spend like Netflix and chill time with him. I decked out the house with snacks. They're all, you know, fancy snacks and expensive and shit like that, and I spent quite a bit just to make it comfortable for that weekend, because that's what I do. And he would get to like the night before and he'd cancel, and I'd have just decked out the house. It's all clean, everything's done. You know, any female that knows what it's like to have an all-over shave, for example, and having decked yourself out and then have your date cancel, you can imagine how pissed off you are. You're like, you fucker. But he did it a few times, and I know why he did it, because he got a better offer, or a supposed better offer, which meant that he could go and socialize with a bunch of 20-somethings and get shit-faced and appear to be the cool older guy, when in reality, for a 20-year-old girl, you're the creepy old guy that hangs around. But he didn't see that way because, you know, over-pumped up ego. Clearly he doesn't know how the female brain works. But, you know, but it was all that effort putting into, you know, getting nice things for him and trying to make his life a little bit more comfortable, and he just didn't have my back. I was the option. To be honest, I'm wondering if I was the third wheel to him and his best buddy. I'm going, is there something going on here? And I brought it up, and he said, oh no, it's just a mentor situation. I'm like, Greek mentor? Is it a Roman mentor, you know? Or if you know anything about the Greeks and Romans, they were very close with their little boy mentor situations. And I brought it up as a joke, and I'm sitting there going, well, actually, you guys are really freaking clingy. So I'm like, I won't keep playing on it, but I am concerned. So, you know, I think there might be some traits here that even he doesn't want to own up to. But the friends group, they have no loyalty. As soon as a better offer will come up, they'll fuck off with that. And I found it interesting, because I know I've got friends that I could just call on at a drop of a hat and they'll just be there, because that's what friendship should be. On the other hand, you've got these temporary people that just fill spots while they're bored, placeholders, you know. It might have gone in hand with that sort of hookup culture that seems to be infiltrating that group for some reason. They're all 20-somethings. They've got no sense of stability or a desire to fucking form stability. Everybody sort of just throws themselves around sexually. I'm going, the fuck is this? How many STDs are in this crowd right now? I'm not participating. But at the same time, it's like, this shit's temporary. You're in your 20s at this point. If you don't start setting foundations, networks-wise, and I'm not just talking people that you can exploit for money, because there was a few people, it's like, oh, come and see my stand-up, or come and buy my products. One of the girls was like, I've got a bunch of hair products you could buy. You dye your hair, don't you? I'm like, no, I wouldn't buy it from you anyway, but, you know, because I know the product I like my shit. But it's always that, I'll be your friend so long as I can get something out of you thing. Come and see my show. Come and do my business. Come and buy my shit. Come and give me this. It's the opportunistic shit that I just didn't... These are not friends. They're clients and customers. I don't know why you guys are all hanging around together if only to get something out of each other. If it's not booze and sex, it's buy my shit, give me money. It's like, that's not friendship, because at the same time, your business goes bust, these fuckers aren't going to back you up. At the same time, while my ex-boyfriend came across as some older male that was, you know, qualified possibly to pay for their shit, I don't know. If he went broke, and quite possibly did because he doesn't know how to manage money, he would have nothing to barter with. The girls wouldn't hang around for long because he's not paying for their shit. I don't know why he thought they were his friends, because it's quite clear. It's like walking into a Hooters or into like a strip joint. You know, the girls are your friends so long as you can pay for their shit. They're all the girls like you, as long as you're handing out the money in their G-string and shit like that. It's like, how can you not recognize that type of scenario is that? Maybe it's an overdeveloped ego, I don't know, where you actually assume that people genuinely think you're a good person and don't have some ulterior motive. I know I'm a bit cynical when it comes to shit like that. I'm going, there's always a fucking motive, mate. Even when it's a healthy relationship with your friends, there's still a motive. The motive being that you want a healthy connection. When it's an unhealthy relationship with your friends, it's exploitative. They want your money, they want your time, they want your affection in a negative way because it boosts their ego. There's always some extra shit. Humans exist with purpose. All of their actions have a purpose, even if it's a subconscious one. Generally it's transactional, I find it weirdly, but on occasion you'll find someone who gives something unconditionally and not expect anything back. That's the shit I'm looking for. When I started dating my ex-boyfriend, I said I want the unconditional love. I want to give it. I like the idea of it, just doing something for someone and not expecting shit in return. The problem is that there is an expectation that this person might do the same thing for you, which makes it semi-transactional, but the concept of consent and free will comes into play there. It's without the expectation, but if it happens, it's nice. It's when people start getting taken for granted that's a problem. It's not unconditional. It goes against free will. You're coercing people into giving you stuff, it poisons the relationship. The coercion, the control, the manipulation to get what you want. That's what also fucks up friendships, because people become just things you can milk for what you want. So it's important to find people that are strong enough in their own identity, lifestyle choices, convictions, who can't be manipulated, who can't be cajoled into just believing your side in a sycophant kind of way. That way you will get a clear-cut answer if you fucked up. Can you imagine just ruining your life, but your friends are sitting there going, oh, that's fine, you go for it, man, we believe in you. Meanwhile, you're sitting there coked out of your head in a gutter somewhere. It's like, these are not the friends that you want. These fuckers are not hoping for the best for you. You've also got to consider what kind of thing they're going to get out of there. Some people will pretend to be a friend in order to get something out of you, which is horrible. They'll play nice. They'll tell you everything you want. They'll, kiss your ass as long as you want. They'll, as long as they can get something out of you. It's horrible. Not everyone. It would be horrible and nasty to assume all people are like that, but there is a chunk of them. There is a chance of it. So you need to be mindful of the kind of people you surround yourself with. Are these opportunists? Or are they generally just naturally nice people? That's the thing. Finding the genuinely nice people that don't stand to gain anything from this. Who will hang around just because, you're a nice person, they're a nice person, you have stuff in common. That's cool. Okay, just hang out together. It'll be fine. Maybe they're a positive influence. Maybe they can show you new things that you could learn, or maybe you can show you skills you might need to develop or something like that, but they find like a nice way to show you or tell you. You should always be aiming for people that are good influence. People that enable your bad behaviors and addictions and throwing yourself around to the detriment of your own health, for example. People who enable, fucking around and finding out. Probably not the best people. One of the old sayings is misery loves company. If you got a bunch of drunks sitting in a pub, they're probably going to say it's okay to drink because they want to do it too. Me and my younger sister Pookie, when we get together, worst influence for junk food. Worst influence. She's a terrible influence. Actually, we're bad for each other when it comes to eating healthy and shit like that, because the first thing she does when she comes over from the UK is say, right, let's go find a high tea or something, let's go find something to do that's nice food wise, because she doesn't drink and I don't drink. So but if I'm sitting there trying to get my clean eating up to scratch and stuff like that, she is just the worst. And she's all into the gourmet stuff as well, so it's like, oh, we're going off to so-and-so to try this. I'm pretty basic in my rations. I like the standard structure, but she's a bit airy-fairy. But on my own I'm a good influence, because it's pretty easy, because my TISM keeps it in check. As long as I set a good routine, I can usually maintain it, because I love the repetitive standard. Keep running it, and I don't get bored of things like meal prep, because it's just that standard issue stuff that I can keep rolling with, and I just like plodding along with it. She is ADD, leaning towards, I don't know about ADHD, but she's off with the fairies. My brother's ADHD, he'll eat damn near anything you put in front of him, which is why he's quite large. But he's gorgeous, I love him. But it's you got to wonder about what influences you've got around you in case they're setting the bad tone for what could be. Ooh, I need to get at that ATM. Why would you park there? So when you're making friends, and oh Jesus, Pizard. Why? Jesus Christ. Well, we're circling around. Anyway, it's Anzac Day. People been out on the piss last night, and now they're just hovering around shopping centres apparently. So that's kind of fucked up. It's like, why? I don't know. What are we celebrating? It wasn't alcoholism. I wonder if I can find another ATM. Anywho, so you've got to be considerate of people. Oh, someone's got there. I'm in my old neighbourhood, and I'm seeing a lot of shit I just forgot about. That is not good shit to come back to. Now I've got to go find a safe ATM. Yay! Let's go that way. Let's see what that way is. One day I'll do a tour of what my old neighbourhood is. See if you can relate. I'm waiting for the burnout cars to appear. Anyway, what influences your lifestyle? Now you could choose to mimic those around you, and there's a heavy chance that if you choose the wrong influences, they might taint your worldview of what you're supposed to be doing. You tend to take on the mantle of those who you surround yourself with. It's not always a good thing, because you lead you down a merry path of destruction, quite frankly, but under the guise of we're having fun. or this is what we do, or in order to belong with us, you have to do these things. It's your role as an adult to be more discerning when it comes to what kinds of influences I would want for myself. It might be easier if you're a parent, because you've got like a mindset of, would I want my kid turning out like this? That's what I'm thinking of when I've got like my kids in the classroom. I look at the shit they go through, and I'm like, if I wouldn't want this from my kid, I don't want it for me. And it does set a tone as well, because it cancels out a whole bunch of things like alcoholics and druggies and people who fuck around and shit like that. And you're sitting there thinking, it's cleaner. It might be more boring, I know, compared to some of the very exciting things that, you know, the people in my old social group were doing. Seemingly exciting, even though I know where it ends and how horrible it actually can be. They don't see it because they're young and they're inexperienced. Give it 20 years. I sound like an asshole because I'm the old person, like, you know, killing the fun. But at the same time, give it 20 years. You'll understand why I'm crotchety now and why I know where this is going. But again, if I didn't want my kid doing it, why would I want it for myself? You know, it's one of those things. Yeah, fuck off me. Yeah, that's the kind of people. This is my old neighborhood. I don't know if I should keep my car stationary right now. I'm like, child lock on? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I'm hoping, like, what can we take away from this? Because I am at my destination. When making friends, consider where you want to get to. Now, I'm not saying that if you want to be a billionaire, you should hang around with billionaires. That's a very shallow rendition of finding quality people. That's just being materialistic and assuming that hanging around people of a certain social group, hoping it will rub off on you in a good way, materialistic way. I'm not for materialism. I'm for finding genuine emotional connection, psychological connection. People who are actually concerned, black ute, people who are actually concerned for your welfare. I am so in my old neighborhood. Someone's doing burnouts with a black ute. Can you hear it? Dildo. Bogans. The best thing you can do is to find friends who support your endeavors, not just when it's convenient for them. Bearing in mind, everybody's got their own plan. They'll need to be doing, you know, their own goals, and you want to find people that are healthy. I mean, they might not be there all the time, but at the same time, these are people you can still come back to and say, this is where I progressed with my projects, my lifestyle. What do you think? And they can say, okay, that's great. Have you tried this? Or they can offer you insight into stuff like that. What you don't want is people who, first of all, do the fake smile and stuff and just like, oh, that's great. And then, you know, ignore you for the rest of it. They're not actually helping the situation. These people are just hanging on. And if you do succeed and you do reach something, these fuckers will be the ones saying, I was friends the whole time. And you're like, no, you fucking weren't. You didn't help me at all. The hanger-oners. I've got a few of those, actually. I can see when I finalize I've got 2 major projects. When I finalize my larger project, I can see how people are going to come out of the woodwork. And suddenly, oh, I was your friend after all. And you're like, you fucking weren't. But, and I will act accordingly. But at the same time, you know, you want people that are going to support you and help you along the way, not just give it face value. People of like-minded, you know, lifestyles. People who share the same common interests. Not ones that are destructive, because long-term those friendships will end. Short and sharp, because, you know, one of you might really fuck up their life and end up in prison or dying early or stuff like that. So anyone who's enabling bad habits is probably the worst influence you could get. Fake friends, people who enable bad habits, people who are willing to drop you on your ass when it's convenient for them, people who leech resources off you. All these fuckers are just not helpful. So if you can find the opposite of that, I think you'll be all right. Oh my God, another cracker. How did I survive this area? I don't know. Jesus Christ. Anyway, education. That's how I survived this area. Education is the bridge to get out of shitholes like this. Anyway, I'm gonna have to leave it there because I have to go and do my stuff. I hope you guys have a fantastic... That was Anzac Day, so it's a Thursday. I hope you have a fantastic day off if you've got Anzac Day off. I'm gonna leave it there. I'll probably do another one on the way back. Hopefully it's not gonna be as meandering. Okay, have a good one. I'll chat later.